The fact that this is even happening and shutting down the government is absolutely wild. Welcome back to the show. Hit that subscribe button. Let's get to it. First topic, CNN's Harry Enten showed a poll suggesting that Republicans' approval rating is surging amid the government shutdown. Roll the clip.
Starting with Republicans, how has the shutdown seemed to have affected their political standing?
Yeah, you might think, given that the Republicans are in charge of both the House and the Senate, that a government shutdown might actually hurt the Republican brand. But in fact, it hasn't. If anything, it's been helped a little bit. Take a look here, the shift in net popularity versus pre-shutdown. When we're looking at the Republican Party overall, that brand actually up 2 points. That's within the margin of error, but clearly it hasn't dropped. Come over to this side of the screen. Look at the net approval ratings for Republicans in Congress. It's actually up 5 points since pre-shutdown. So what we're seeing here is the Republican brand in Congress has actually improved somewhat compared to where we were pre-shutdown, despite the fact that Republicans control. And that's the math that John Thune and Mike Johnson are looking at is, well, hey, why should we give, and electorally speaking, when our brand has actually improved a little bit?
Now, we say their position is getting better. With whom?
Yeah, okay, with whom? So I think it's two groups that it's so important to keep an eye on. All right, change in the Republican Congress's net approval rating versus pre-shutdown. It's rallying the base for sure. Look at this, the net approval rating up 12 points versus pre-shutdown. But it's not just with the base. It's also with the middle of the electorate. Look at this, among independents. It's up 8 points as well. So we've got a situation here where Republicans with the shutdown are actually rallying their base, but it's also something that's not hurting them with the folks in the middle. If anything, it's helping them with folks in the middle. And this is the type of math that if you're Republicans, you like to see, right? Because something could rally the base but alienate those in the middle, or something could rally those in the middle but alienate the base. But the truth is, we're not seeing that. What we're seeing is the Republican brand has actually gotten better among independents, and it's also gotten better among Republicans as well, that Republican brand when it comes to those in Congress. So again, what's the electoral reason that Republicans would give in at this point?
And Democrats, of course, they have their eyes on the midterm elections. Yeah, we have elections 1 week from today, but what Democrats in Congress are mostly focused on are 1 year and 1 week from today from the midterm. So how are they positioned right now?
Yeah, so I mean, look, the generic congressional ballot, which traditionally Democrats have done really well on, and if you look at this point back when Trump was president the first time around, Democrats are up 11 points. Look at where it is now. Democrats are ahead, but they're actually only up 3 points. This is, in fact, the worst position Democrats have been on in a generic ballot at this point in midterm when there was a Republican president in the last 20 years. And this is no different from pre-shutdown. So Republicans aren't losing on this metric either. They become more popular, and they're actually in a pretty good position for them historically when it comes to the generic congressional ballot.
This is a concerning number for Democrats, are you saying?
This is a concerning number for Democrats because it's considerably worse than they traditionally do in midterm elections when there's a Republican president.
Harry Enten, thank you very much.
Thank you, my friend.
Yeah, this is great. I mean, what this is showing is that basically people are not buying the Democrats' BS at all when it comes to this government shutdown. Everybody knows that they want to give illegals free health care, and pretty much everything that is holding up this government shutdown or the government reopening is the fact that they want to do things that are not America first, right? So, and people, we're done with that. We're going back to America first. It just proves the Trump effect is real, and that America is sick and tired of this crap of America being the last 4 years, and we want to go back to just helping our own people rather than the rest of the world, right? What a crazy idea. But all right, let's get to the next topic here. California Governor Gavin Newsom is pissed off at Joe Rogan and is claiming he's too scared to have him on his podcast. Roll the clip.
He won't. Look, he hasn't for years and years. He's been attacking me, and it's one way, and he won't have me on. He's consistently not having me on. By the way, I'm moving on. I have no interest.
You're done with him?
Joe Rogan's the Facebook of podcasting. He was sitting across one of the brightest minds in podcasting right now. The guy was in the mic. Mm-hmm. And there are a lot of people at the mic doing extraordinary things in podcasting.
Joe Rogan's got a pretty big audience still, though.
You know what? But with all due respect, if he has a big audience but he doesn't have big enough confidence, I didn't go there, to have me on.
Well, you've called him a chicken.
He's been attacking here's the thing. These guys, they all have something in common. It's one way. They attack, they belittle, they demean, they take things out of context. But this is a serious thing.
Yeah.
And so often we just sit back and go, oh, God, I really would love to go on. Oh, if Kamala Harris just went on Joe Rogan, she would have won. It's not. It's so much deeper than that. And the unwillingness for a guy like that to even have the common courtesy to attack someone and not have the decency say, you know what, why don't you have a chance to come on? Let's have a civil dialogue. I've watched you on podcasts with like Sean Ryan, who's a close buddy of his. He had the courage on me have 4 hours.
Right.
Sean Hannity, folks like that. And so if I can go on Sean Ryan and Sean Hannity, what are you worried about? Joe, you're going to cook me. Or I'm going to cook myself.
Come on, is there anybody out there who believes that Joe Rogan is afraid to have Gavin Newsom on his podcast? I'm sure Joe's reached out at least a dozen times and Gavin Newsom has refused to go on because the guy is afraid, right? Anytime he goes on a podcast that isn't some podcast, it's just there to make him look good and ask him canned questions, he looks like an absolute moron, right? So he knows that he's not going on Rogan. He might be able to go on Rogan for like 20 minutes, but Rogan does a 3-hour podcast. In those 3 hours, he's going to be exposed for the pure scumbag weasel that he actually is. So he's never going on Rogan, yet he has to try to make Rogan look like he's the problem and he's afraid of Gavin Newsom. Get out of here. But all right, let's get to the next topic here. Speaker of the House Mike Johnson has exposed the Democrats for what they want to reopen the government. Go ahead, roll the clip.
Things like $4 million for global LGBTQI plus awareness campaigns around the world. $4 million for the LGBTQI plus democracy grants in the Balkans. They want $2 million for feminist democratic principles projects in Africa. We're not doing that. But again, the question is why? Why? This sounds crazy. It is. Why would they do this? And what we saw on vivid display over the weekend was the re-emphasis of this fact. This is motivated purely out of fear. And what do we mean by that? You saw the Democratic leader in the House, Hakeem Jeffries, endorse Zoran Mamdani for mayor of New York City on Friday. It was an illustration of what we're facing here. The Democrats right now fear the far left activists more than they fear air traffic controllers, border patrol agents, American service members, and so many others missing their paychecks. They fear the Marxist insurgents like Mamdani more than they fear families and children going hungry from lapsed benefits that keep food on their tables. They simply fear losing their own political positions next November if they don't appease the angry far-left base right now.
Yeah, it's just great to know that we got a president in office like Trump who's not going to be caving to this BS. It doesn't care if the government gets shut down under him because he has to stand firm against this type of lunacy, right? And that's all it is. It's just pure lunacy. It just shows that they don't care about Americans. They care about the radical left, right? These radical left-wing lunatics that want to give illegals free everything. They want to make America last. They want to turn your kids trans. Those are the people they feel they have to appease. Not Americans, the radical left. And it's absolutely insane. And the fact that this is even happening and shutting down the government is absolutely wild. And at least it's shining a light, once again, on the lunacy of the Democratic Party. But all right, let's get to the next topic here. The View think Trump is going to be serving a third term. Go ahead, roll the clip.
Did you see Marco Rubio's face in that video? He looked like a hostage. He's like, wait, you mean I'm not next?
I know, like blink twice.
But you know, go ahead.
Can I, to Alyssa's point, I always thought, okay, the 22nd Amendment is so clear. You learn in law school, no president can run twice because it really came into effect in the 40s after LBJ had like 4 terms.
Roosevelt.
And FDR had 4 terms, and then you had like the other one, Truman, who didn't run for re-election but kind of said that he could. And so we put this into the Constitution for a reason. But when you asked Sotomayor that question, she said, well, it hasn't been tested. And that told me everything that I needed to know because I think that she is a very faithful constitutionalist. I think that she also understands that the Constitution can be interpreted as a living and breathing thing as opposed to just sort of this thing that was written eons ago. And so I think, you know, many people who say there's no way he would do it Well, those are the same people that said the Supreme Court is never going to get rid of Roe v. Wade. Those are the people that said things like, he's never going to have these mass men disappearing people all over the country. Those are the same people that said, oh my goodness, are you kidding? He's never going to get rid of the Rose Garden. He's never going to get rid of the East Wing. He's done everything that people thought that he would never do. I actually have come to the conclusion that he is most definitely going to try to remain in power, because remember that East Wing, it's going to take a long time to build that. He is hooking up the White House because he doesn't plan on leaving it.
Well,
I don't think he plans on leaving it.
I told y'all that years ago. That he had he was not going anywhere. He said it. He said, I want to be president for life. I heard him say it. I watched his lips move, and I thought, he means this.
Jesus, how is this show still on the air? I mean, what kind of people actually watch The View? It's just got to be old boomer women who have nothing better to do. I don't even think it's these young blue-haired women. It's just only old boomer women. But yeah, this whole Trump third term situation, I mean, I'll be real. He is probably cooking something up behind the scenes, trying to serve a third term. And I mean, we would probably want it to happen, you know, but see, you can't be doing this type of thing, because what if a Democrat gets in there and they get 12 years to just completely ruin America? What if Biden had 12 years? Or God forbid if Kamala had 12 years? You know, I mean, it would be the destruction of America. So would you trust Trump with a third term? Yeah, of course. You would think that America would just be skyrocketing into greatness if Trump served a third term, but then it just leaves it open for the Democrats to destroy America for 12 years. So, you know, it's a slippery slope. Is Trump trying to serve a third term? Probably. Should he? Probably not, but who knows at this point. But all right, that's it for today. Be sure to like, subscribe, and we'll be seeing you.